This is as delicious as a bowl of Martha Stewart's one pot pasta. Yes, the lifestyle genius has just scored the ultimate revenge on a certain Meghan Markle, her long-time, shall we say, frenemy, brutally exposing her, ironically, via the Sussex propaganda organ People magazine as being a big fat gossip, of breaking all of those private agreements that Prince Harry had made with King Charles. Because at a recent Hollywood dinner, Martha Stewart notes that Meghan Markle was yapping to all in sundry about her royal reunion with King Charles. So I love everything about the story because, number one, it shows you Martha Stewart is amazing. She knew exactly what she was doing. Number two, it shows you that Meghan Markle can't keep her trap shut and must never be trusted. And someone who has had a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth act is my friend, the wonderful Lady Colin Campbell, royal author, socialite, and she joins me now. Okay, Lady C, so much fun to unpick here. Firstly, can we just say that Martha Stewart is brilliant? Like, she knew exactly what she was doing, Lady C, and letting off that bomb in People magazine. I love it. I just love it.
She gutted that chick for all it was worth. She just put the knife in, eviscerated, got rid of the innards. I thought she was brilliant how she did it. And she got the point across. But you know, Dan, I don't know why anybody's surprised that Meghan is dining out on what happened with, and she's, of course, going to be bigging up the and let's remember, the whole of the meeting with Harry was 47 minutes. Meghan wasn't there for most of it. But you can imagine how Meghan is now going to be going around saying about, oh, when Harry's pa and I, and the next thing is it's going to be 27 hours long, and she kept the king waiting, but I mean that was the whole purpose of the meeting, wasn't it? To re-gild her royal lily, and to give her an opportunity to try to maybe spin the very tenuous connection that she has with the royal family into new assignments via various entertainment outlets, because that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Well, it is, but Lady C, as Tom Sykes makes the point, you have been a guest at many of these aristocratic dinner parties for decades now, and there is a certain code when it comes to the royal family in the United Kingdom. But clearly that code doesn't exist in Hollywood. And so to hear about Meghan actually being so, how would you describe it? Being so gross, being so nouveau riche, I guess being so boastful.
Tacky and Arivis.
Yes. I knew you would have the words. This will worry King Charles, and it should, and it must.
Well, actually, Dan, I don't think that the king is at all surprised, and I don't think he would be surprised. I think it's what he would expect of Meghan. And, that's why they have been very careful to make the point that the whole of the meeting was 47 minutes long, and that Meghan was kept waiting outside for much of it, and that she was only received for a part of the 47 minutes. So Meghan can spin it any way she wants. There's already a record out there as to exactly what happened, and that it was not the great reconciliation that she would like people to believe it was. And yes, of course, she shouldn't be doing any of this. But, is it a surprise that an anus gets rid of feces? That's its natural function in life. Meghan is an anus. And of course, she's going to be shooting the brown stuff all over everybody. That's her role in life.
What did you make of what Martha Stewart said about her failure to take off as a lifestyle guru? I mean, I thought she was very kind, but we know she doesn't like her, seemingly just saying the transition just hasn't worked. Actress to princess to homemaking guru. She's right, isn't she?
Oh, I thought it was wonderful. I mean, she eviscerated her very elegantly because, I mean, it's very difficult to make a transition from D grade actress to A grade princess, and then to make it from A grade princess down to Z grade influencer. And she's managed to do it. And I thought that Martha Stewart got the point across very elegantly that Meghan has failed at everything. But she doesn't say it in like that. She just says how difficult it is. And let's not forget that Meghan is always going on and on about how difficult her life is and how difficult all the transitions were and how difficult everything was. But Meghan doesn't say that she is partly or totally responsible for her failure. She makes everybody else responsible for her failure. But I think Martha Stewart is making the point that really it's a difficult transition at the best of times. And this is not the best of times, and Meghan has flopped. And of course, we all know that Martha Stewart bitterly resents the fact that Meghan tried to muscle in on her territory and tried to make out that she, Meghan, was going to bring something to the table that Martha Stewart wasn't able to, because Martha Stewart was somehow lacking. And what all Meghan has shown is that she is the one who was lacking.
Lady C, it was interesting the lack of support, certainly big name celebrity support. So as of yesterday, it had only been Kelly J. Zadgefin. Then late in the day, Tracy Robbins, who is her friend, whose husband is one of the top film executives, entertainment executives in the UK, did actually come on board and said, "Happy birthday to my partner in crime. Love doing life with you. One bam bird at a time. Love you, Meghan." And she posted this selection of pictures. But I mean, no Kardashians, no Serena Williams. I mean, it was such a muted response to one's birthday. And again, I'm a similar age to Meghan. I wouldn't give a damn, but this is a woman who is obsessed with birthdays and the sort of public adulation that she believes should come from one's birthday.
Well, let's not forget that Amal Clooney was desperate to send a message, desperate. And Meghan said, "Oh, no, you're not good enough for me. You only have one plane. I need friends who have two planes." I mean, I'm making the thing sound rather more ridiculous than it is. But the whole situation is ridiculous because Meghan is a social climbing lion huntress who has gone after all sorts of scalps. And she managed to lure a lot of them to her wedding. But I mean, what has it behooved her? Because everybody's dumped her. I mean, not one of the people who you have mentioned is actually a big name. I mean, what's her name? Tracy Robbins, her husband is something at Paramount. And of course, they're very grateful to Meghan because Meghan and Harry are the ones who put the Bob Marley movie on the map by agreeing to attend the premiere. And of course, as we all know, that went pretty disastrously as well, because Rita Marley, Bob Marley's widow, snubbed Meghan royally. And the Jamaican Prime Minister and his wife didn't even want to speak to Meghan and Harry, and they were strong-armed into speaking to Meghan and Harry. So Tracy Robbins has an obvious obligation to Meghan, and good for honouring it. I think full marks to her. The Kelly Jagfern woman, I mean, who is she really? You know, I mean, is she a Z-lister or is she a P-lister? Because she's not even a D-lister. And if you look at it in that context, Meghan has scratched her way to the top, and is now having scratched her way to the top, is now scratching her way to the bottom, with all the evidence to show that she has had all sorts of doors shut to her, which is hardly surprising, because if you're asked a party and then you create a scene, you can hardly expect people like Kris Jenner to then spin around and be congratulating you. And also, why did not the King and the Queen congratulate Meghan on her 45th birthday? Surely that would have been the most natural thing to do, because let's remember how important Meghan is. Oh, I forgot. She's not that important. That's why they didn't.
According to a People magazine interview, Martha Stewart recently attended a dinner in California where Meghan Markle was also a guest. During the conversation, Martha mentioned that Meghan had just gotten back from the palace, and added, "I didn't talk to her really more than to say a couple of words, but I know she was talking about it." That single line has been widely picked up and reframed by some commentators as evidence that Meghan was gossiping about King Charles or discussing private royal matters. But that is not what Martha explicitly said. Martha's actual statement only confirms that Meghan spoke about her recent visit in some form. It does not specify what was said, whether it was positive or negative, or whether any private or sensitive information was shared. The leap from talking about her trip to gossiping about the king is an interpretation, not a confirmed fact. The phrase "just gotten back from the palace" is what has driven much of the speculation. Given Meghan's ongoing public association with the royal family, any mention of a palace visit naturally attracts attention. But a palace visit could refer to a wide range of experiences, official engagements, brief meetings, or general travel context. Without further detail from Martha, the content of Meghan's conversation remains unknown. Importantly, nothing in the quote suggests Meghan revealed confidential conversations, broke any agreement, or shared restricted information. Those claims come from commentary surrounding the interview, not from Martha's own words. The broader video narrative also connects this moment to Martha Stewart's past comments about Meghan's career transition from actress to royal figure and then to lifestyle branding. Martha reportedly noted that such transitions are not straightforward, which some have interpreted as criticism. However, that remains an interpretation rather than a direct attack.
Lady C, of course, this is a difficult week for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, because we know the financial pressure they're under and the extra pressure that is putting on their relationship, and the new evidence that has emerged out of Prince Harry's court case versus the Daily Mail, which you have been completely across. We shared some of your reporting earlier in the week here on Outspoken, has been potentially devastating, because I would argue, Lady C, if this was any normal human being, politician, celebrity, who had basically been exposed for going into a court case like this, knowing that you were relying on evidence that had been falsified, you would be facing a massive financial ramification. And of course, we heard for the first time from Gavin Burrows, the man who Prince Harry had been relying on, and he claims it was all made up and that Harry is now part of the biggest legal scam of all time. So, Lady C, fascinated you in your analysis of this. But first, can I just show you, in case you missed it, what Gavin Burrows actually said during the 60 Minutes Australia interview?
I phoned Mail's Legal. I think they were a bit surprised to hear from me. And I said, no, it really is me. And I thought that would be the end of it. But they're so greedy. And I suppose you could say that the legal team were too scared to go back. They couldn't really go back to the claimants and say they lied, could they? All claimants have been duped. But it needs to be exposed. It is the biggest scam in legal history.
Biggest scam in legal history. And that's the man who Prince Harry was relying on. I mean, there's so much to say, obviously. And thank God you did say it earlier this week, because the mainstream media aren't really going there about Gavin Burrows, about Byline Investigates and Byline Times, and how they are effectively a criminal operation. But Lady C, when it comes to Meghan Markle, what she cares about is not so much the reputation, but the money. And surely the judge in this case now should be rewarding all of those millions to Prince Harry's rivals at the Daily Mail. And surely Prince Harry's insurance company should be saying, well, you knew, so we're not covering you. But do you think he is going to have some sort of protection by virtue of the fact that he remains a prince of the realm?
Well, Dan, it's really difficult to make a prediction, and I don't like predicting. Having said that, I could not agree with Gavin Burrows more. I've been saying all along, this is a criminal enterprise. It's been an attempt to extort, to blackmail, and to pervert the course of justice. And it's all there in black and white. Of course, Mr. Justice Nicklin has the ability and the right to refer this matter to the police. The fact that he has not yet done so doesn't mean that he will not do so in the future, because there are many high stakes matters involved, not the least of which is a £40 million bill. And so obviously he's going to take things step by step by step. And I can well see the merit of not at this juncture asking the police to investigate. But there is no doubt that it has been a criminal enterprise. And I've been saying this for some time, and I have invited David Sherborne and Angeli Sanjani and Harry and the rest of them, especially Sadie Frost and Sir Simon Hughes, who is a barrister and had to know better. I have invited all of them if they think that I have been unfair or defaming them to sue me. I've not heard a word from any of them, and I'm not going to hear a word from any of them either, because the fact of the matter is it is a criminal enterprise that they have entered into. And you only need to read what Harry had to say in his book Spare about going to that visit with Meghan and Archie, who was too young to travel to Balmoral because it was too great a distance from London, but it wasn't too great a distance from a further distance to the south of France for them to cook up this scheme amongst themselves. And you're right, it's also bigger than just the parties involved. It's Hacktoff, it's Steve Coogan, it's the Max Mosley estate. I mean, it is an absolute scandal. And I would be very surprised if nothing is done. Let's put it that way. But I well understand why things need to be done in a very measured way, because the fact of the matter is this is not only one of the most flagrant blackmail attempts and extortion shakedowns done through the legal system, but done so publicly and so flagrantly. But of course, it involves the judiciary, it involves the legal, very because actually David Sherborne is the most senior junior. He's not a senior, he's a junior. But it involves very well-known legal figures, and it involves the king's son. But as to whether Harry himself is guilty of to what extent of criminal activity is a moot point, I would submit, because the fact of the matter is The architects of this were David Sherborne, Angeli Sanjani, and I'm not saying that the claimants were not involved, but they were not necessarily the architects of it. So they might be able to wriggle away from some responsibility insofar as they were not the creators of the criminal enterprise, so much as simply going to be the beneficiaries of it. And let's remember, they tried to shake down associated newspapers in settlement terms to the tune of millions of pounds as well. But where Harry is definitely guilty is he perjured himself in court. He lied. He plain, straight up front lied. He lied about that he never sent texts or whatever it was. I don't remember exactly, but he was lying about his encounters with members of the press, including Charlotte Griffiths. So Harry is plainly perjurous, and he has plainly perjured himself. That doesn't mean, however, that he is guilty of the overall creation of this massive scam. But it has been a massive scam, and it's in full view of the world. So let us see what happens down the line, because the fact of the matter is, it would be a national disgrace if they are simply allowed to get away with flagrantly extorting, perverting the course of justice, perjuring themselves, lying about timelines, etc., etc. I mean, when you stop to think of it, this is truly one of the most enormous legal scandals to have ever taken place anywhere in the world.
Another layer often mentioned is the so-called one-pot pasta comparison between Meghan's cooking content and Martha Stewart's recipes. While similarities in recipes can spark discussion, they do not in themselves prove copying or rivalry. Much of the tension described in online commentary is therefore speculative rather than evidenced. A more serious claim raised in some discussions is the idea that Meghan may have violated private understandings between Prince Harry and King Charles by speaking about royal matters. However, no specific agreement, terms, or confirmed breach have been presented. Without clear evidence of what was agreed and what was allegedly disclosed, such conclusions remain unverified. So why has this story gone viral? It brings together several high-interest elements: Meghan Markle, King Charles, Martha Stewart, a palace visit, and the suggestion of private conversations at a Hollywood dinner. That combination is highly shareable, even when the underlying facts are limited. It is also worth noting that Martha's comments appeared in People magazine, a mainstream entertainment outlet. Some commentators suggest this choice of publication adds significance, but there is no evidence that Martha intended to expose Meghan or frame the comment as a revelation. At its core, the verified information is simple. Martha Stewart attended a dinner with Meghan Markle, and Meghan spoke about a recent visit to the palace. Everything beyond that, tone, content, intent, and implications, is interpretation. So, was Meghan caught gossiping about King Charles? Based on the available quote, that is too strong a conclusion. What we can say is that she discussed her recent experience in some form, but we do not know the substance of that conversation. As with many viral royal stories, the difference between fact and speculation is doing a lot of work here. And in this case, the facts are far more limited than the headlines suggest. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notification to receive more royal updates. Thanks for watching.